Hi, and welcome to Relational Effectiveness. My name is John Hoerauf. I'm sitting in for my wife, Lynn Hoerauf, and I just want to thank Strategic Advisor Board for sponsoring this video. Yesterday, we outlined some of your goals that you have, and if you didn't do that yet, go back and watch that video, write some of those down and some of the reasons you want to achieve those and all that, because we're going to be moving off of that into our next step. So that's really important to have there. When you think about those goals and you think about what's motivated you in the past to accomplish those goals, I want you to think about what's worked for you in the past. There's goals that you've accomplished. Maybe you've made it through school, you've gotten your bachelor's or your master's or your doctorate, or maybe you've stayed at your job for several years, you've stayed in a marriage for several years. You've done things and you've accomplished goals that you've had. So think back to what's worked for you in the past. Maybe it's just gut determination. You can dig in and just get something done. Or you create a structured process where if I do this and I do this, and you have a plan, and as long as you put it out on paper, everything goes together and it works well. Maybe you create, from your goals, you create guidelines on what's okay. Let's say it's a weight loss goal, and you decide I'm only going to eat sugar on the weekends, and you stick to that, and that works for you. So think about things that have worked for you in the past, because you have been successful. And you're here because you have accomplished goals. So even though I'm presenting to you what I think is a higher way to accomplish the big goals in your life, I don't want to take away from the fact that you've already done well in this area several times. So think about the things you've done well and what's worked. Then I also want you to think about what is it that falls short in those? Because I know you also will have goals that you've wanted to do that maybe you've done for a short period of time or even a long period of time, but then it kind of tapered off and you gave up. You got tired, you got distracted, whatever it might be. Why is it that these goals fall short? And maybe it's that you just couldn't keep it up for so long. You did it for a while and then you just kind of got tired. You got burned out, you got distracted, you got bored, whatever it might be. Something else came up. Maybe you were trying to accomplish too many things at once and you just couldn't keep it all going. Why is it that you keep falling back into the same habits? And maybe even thinking about what those habits are. Again, this might be a good time for you to not just listen, but stop this video for a minute and give this some thought and write this down. Journal some of these things so you have this here. You're not going to get through this whole process just by watching these short videos. You need to put in some thought in the background. Why is it that you have fallen short in the past? So as you're thinking about that, remember my definition for motivation. It's not the goal itself. It's not the desire to get something done. I've personified motivation in a sense. Motivation is a force exerted against a person's will with the intent of moving that will, moving it in a particular direction. I want you to look at this. So first we have motivation, and motivation exerts energy against the will with the intent of moving it toward a goal. So a traditional way is to begin with the will and reach out to find energy from the outside, kind of a false motivation. So you start in the middle and you develop that you have a will to change, you strengthen that will, you look to other people, to motivational tapes, to resources, to your own strength, and you try and get that will strong enough to accomplish the goal. The new way I want you to think about it is to begin with the proper motivation, and you allow that to be a power that moves the will in the direction that we desire to go. So we're not looking at the will and strengthening the will, we're looking at having the right motivation that then has what it needs to cause the will to go in the direction we want it to. So motivation uses the will to express itself. So think of it in that way. As we are moving into this, as you put some of these things together, remember some of the stuff that we talked about with motivations. We're beginning by exploring the toxic motivations that affect our will. So you're starting, if you have the will that wants to get something done, and yet there's this negative, this toxic motivation that keeps moving the will in a direction you don't want to go, we don't get to our goal. Think about this. Sometimes we say that people are unmotivated. I don't think that's true. I think everyone is motivated. It might just be that they're motivated by comfort or by distraction. And so instead of going toward this goal, this toxic motivation of distraction keeps coming in and getting them to spend a whole bunch of time on Facebook and never really get things accomplished. If somebody wants to lose weight or get in shape and they start moving in that direction, but this higher motivation of comfort, that I need to be comfortable no matter what, causes them to then move away from working out and limiting their food intake and so forth. So that motivation is still there. It's just a toxic motivation. So think about that today. And then tomorrow we're going to come back and we're going to take this idea a little bit further to help you identify your toxic motivations. Have a great day.